Hello, this Whiteboard Explainer video will discuss leader of China Mao Zedong's notable swimming endeavors. Specifically, I will discuss the instances in which Mao swam across the Yangtze River in 1956 and 1966 and their significance to the personality cult of Mao. So, to begin, what is the cult of personality? A personality cult is a phenomenon in which a single leader of a country, like China, is purposely glorified and idolized in a way that may have some separation from reality. It's often associated with charismatic leaders in the context of cults, but has also been seen in other dictator-style regimes like in Russia. In the case of Mao Zedong, the power and unity of the regime under his leadership was connected directly to his own physical strength and health because the idolization of Mao, not just Maoism, was so central to the government at that time. As said in the biography of a Chairman Mao badge by Melissa Schrift, the government under Mao used slogans, badges, speeches, pictures, and even songs to try to immortalize the personality cult and the strength it possessed. During the Cultural Revolution, enthusiastic proponents of Maoist ideas carried around his little red book of quotations from the chairman. However, the strength of Mao's personality cult during the Cultural Revolution was aided by his efforts to reassure the public of his physical strength and well-being in 1966 when he swam across the Yangtze River. Mao's reassurance of his own physical strength was in many ways integral to maintaining the cult of personality. Many people have noted that Mao's swimming endeavors in 1956 and 1966 appear to occur eerily close before major social upheavals and tragedies. The Great Leap Forward and Famine from 1959 to 61, and the Cultural Revolution from 1966 to 76. The Great Leap Forward and Great Famine was where Mao attempted to create large farming communes, but instead created a disastrous food shortage for many. And the Cultural Revolution was where Mao attempted to motivate Chinese society to purge itself of elites through extreme means. In reality, while Mao Zedong certainly did not plan for the Great Famine, the second swimming endeavor particularly may have been purposeful as to reaffirm the strength of the personality cult before a great period of social change, the Cultural Revolution. Professor Shuk-Hua Poon of the Chinese University of Hong Kong explains concisely the significance of Mao's swimming in his paper Embodying Maoism, the swimming craze, the Mao cult, and body politics in communist China. He writes about Mao's 1966 swim as a climax and integral part of Mao's personality cult, as well as a means to mobilize support for his political endeavors. The government under Mao immortalized his swims through famous photographs like the one I've attempted to draw, but are pushing the limits of our artistic capabilities. These were the actual photographs, as just pictured. In Poon's paper about Mao's swimming, he also emphasizes an idea that he characterizes body politic. In his words, Mao used his body, particularly his swimming body, which he may have felt especially confident in, to construct propagandist representations of himself. He draws direct connections between Mao's physical strength and the amount of public support and enthusiasm for his policies. While the personality cult is an idea that's often associated with glorified images and stories about a leader, Mao also encouraged the glorification of his physical embodiment, not just his ideas. Because of this, it can be argued that Mao's version of the personality cult phenomena equated his own physical strength to the physical strength of the Chinese state and the CCP. Swimming was how he exhibited this. Moving along, so why did Mao care so much about emphasizing that he was in good physical shape especially in 1966? Well, to put in simple terms, he was getting old. In fact, Mao passed away 10 years after this second notable swimming endeavor, in 1976. In the years prior to his 1966 swim, Mao had appeared to be aging and was spending less time in the public eye. Although his 1966 swim was described by Jonathan Spence in Mao Zedong: A Life as leisurely, it nevertheless, with the help of propagandized news coverage, suggested that Mao was in excellent health. In reality, his health was rapidly deteriorating by 1970, and he had experienced pneumonia and congestive heart failure, and needed assistance to help him move around by 1972. Moreover, the CCP had become more internally divided as Mao grew increasingly frail, as said by Bruce Dixon in The Party and the People. In contrast, the strength of the Cultural Revolution and personality cult was yet still maintained. By kicking off the Cultural Revolution with his swimming endeavor, Mao strived to unite China under an idolization of himself, even though he was struggling behind closed doors. In terms of how exactly Mao's swim kicked off the Cultural Revolution, I thought it might be helpful to provide a timeline. Before his swim, Mao had been staying in Hangzhou. 2 days after his swim, Mao headed back to Beijing for the first time in 8 months, and a few months later, the May 16th circular was published, a call to action against the bourgeoisie and other elites. This really exhibits how rapidly the Cultural Revolution began after Mao's 1966 swim. As said by Poon, his great swimming feat soon dominated the news coverage. It reaffirmed his status as the mighty leader of the people, preparing him to quickly mobilize popular support for his war against the counter-revolutionaries. That is, Mao's swim did not simply occur just before the Cultural Revolution began, but was actually necessary for Mao to procure the widespread enthusiasm from the members of the public who would become his Red Guard and general Maoism enthusiasts during the Cultural Revolution. To summarize, Mao's personality cult was an integral part of his leadership and maintenance of power during his time as China's leader. As said by multiple authors, Mao's physical health was heavily tied to the health of the personality cult he maintained and peace within the Chinese Communist Party, or at least agreement. One significant way that Mao exhibited his continued good health to the people throughout the second half of the 20th century was by engaging in freshwater swimming endeavors, most notably in 1956 and 1966. Despite the appearance of good health, Mao deteriorated in mobility quickly and fairly shortly after his second crossing of the Yangtze River in 1966. This is typical for the nature of a personality cult, which often portrays an idealized version of the leader it wishes to exalt rather than a realistic one. By exhibiting his physical strength through swimming, Mao mobilized support for his political endeavors, constructed propagandist representations of himself, and reaffirmed his status as the mighty leader of China. This is my works cited with my sources, and thank you so much for watching.